Uh, I'm representing the Maharashtra State Rural Livelihood Mission, and they have listed last year we conducted a Rural Livelihood Innovation Forum. So they have listed that in the agenda that I will speak about that. I will speak about that, but I thought more closely to the topic of discussion, changing context of livelihood promotion and implications for livelihood education. So when I looked at this topic for the whole workshop, I started reflecting on my career. This year I will be completing 20 years in the development sector. And I started in 95 after doing social work from TISC. And last semester I taught a course in TISC, so it was like a full round circle. So one thing is that when I started my career, I got to meet people from the social movements. I work very closely with MEDA and National Alliance, with movements of DNTs in Maharashtra. And so that whole right-based approach, which was come up in the 80s and 90s, it was in its last leg in the mid 90s. And we just had a glimpse of it. People who had worked for 30, 40 years doing Sangatnas and all these things. And then slowly we moved into research-based advocacy. So as professionals, we started writing reports and analysis and all that. And the other thing that I was doing is working a lot on appropriate technology. So this whole thing of organic farming, sustainable agriculture, energy, water conservation and all these things. And over the last few years there has been a shift, and one new word has come which I have still failed to understand its meaning: social entrepreneurship. So I still don't know what it is, but they have mixed two words. So, and I was asked to teach a course on that. So I also struggled a lot. But I read C.K. Prahlad's book. With all its limitations or critiques, I have read some critiques also of that. It still carries some weight because it was told one anecdote, like he was traveling in the car in suburbs of Mumbai, Dharavi and all those areas. And somebody told him, see, look at the poverty here. He says, why do you look at only the poverty? Look at the kind of economic activities that goes there. So if you see, Dharavi is a major leather manufacturing thing, and so many things are happening in Dharavi. So our perspective of looking at livelihoods has undergone sea change, like looking at access, entitlements, rights to then capabilities and now entrepreneurship. So I have also tried to go along with this flow and made suitable changes in my career and organizations to keep afloat. So one of the things, but I have been very lucky in the sense that I got to do many interesting things because I was mentored by some of these people. And one of the persons whom I was mentored by is no longer called Mr. K.R. Date. He was an engineer turned social activist who worked with Baba Amte and all. And he taught me one very good thing which is not there in the livelihood education now. I don't know what to call it, but I have called it quick loop action research. Quick loop action research. Okay, this is my own term, just take it on the face of it. But what it means is that learning from doing and very fast. That means what I discovered is when we go to the field, we go to the village, we talk to the people, we do something, we try out something works, something doesn't work. Can we assimilate the learning and do something based on that the next day, rather than doing the same thing repetitively? So we do a lot of action research, but basically he taught us to work in the praxis mode and basically the heuristics. Like you try something, it works, and you have to take the risk. So a lot of thing now, I'm saying that we are not taking that much risk. In the right-based movement, they took a different kind of risk. In the appropriate technology movement, they took a different kind of risk. But now I'm saying that in the this thing to scale up, we are not taking too many risks. We are repeating the same program, and that is sometimes leading to stagnation. Like we don't know what are the livelihood solutions to come up with. And another thing that struck me is that livelihoods is complex. It consists of economics, it consists of technology, and it consists of social. You need grounding in all these three things. And so what they do is they constitute many NGOs and many organizations constitute what, even in the watershed program they had called multidisciplinary team. So you have an engineer and then you have somebody from agriculture and so on. This is not really work. what I think is a livelihood professional should be a multidisciplinary person. And so I see a lot of lot of engineers also have come now with great motivation, leaving software, and so they struggle with the social thing. They don't understand basic things like caste and family and all this thing. And a lot of people who go from the social work background, they don't know anything about agriculture, or they struggle with understanding the basic sciences also. What is the relationship between soil and air and water? They don't know that. And then they have to work with the farmers. So, there is a big gap. Now, fortunately for me, what happened is I did a degree in science, followed it up with my MBA and then with my MSW. So I worked with Date. So what happened is I could work in this appropriate technology and then move up the value chain to going to skill development and entrepreneurship. Of course, not that I have done anything at scale, but I tried different experiments. And some of them worked, some of them didn't work, but it gave us ideas on what could be the future approach. So, but in this, what the thing I find is, right from class 11, our education system is that it puts people in three categories: science, arts, commerce. And there itself it goes for a toss. Like, if you get the highest marks, you should go to science. And then so on. And then, commerce people. So like, I taught this course on business plan development for social sector, social enterprises, social entrepreneurship. So I changed it to social sector, and then I changed it to micro enterprise. So I told my students, just write a small business plan for any small business. Just take any small business, livelihood. It should have also, I taught them livelihood perspective, I taught them business planning, and then I told you mix the two and write an assignment where you develop a small business plan which has a strong livelihood component. So they did a fairly good job. We have two programs, one in livelihood and social entrepreneurship, and one in community development and livelihood practice. So the students who were focused more on community development were very weak on the financial business planning aspect. And the people in the livelihood entrepreneurship course was fairly better. So they could look at cash flows, internal rate of return and things like that, and they could come up with a viable business plan. But in some of the assignments I found that social sensitivity was very low. There was a lot of things like this, some idea is work somewhere, pick it up, and that person has made low-cost machine for sanitary napkins. So a lot of 2-3 assignments was just on replicating that technology. So what I feel is, how do we give our students a holistic perspective? How do we engage them in our livelihood curriculum to look at all these aspects of technology, science? Because ultimately when you go to the grassroots, in the livelihood, the person is doing something with men and materials or women and materials. There is a money involved in that. And there is a social aspect involved. Social aspect related to their likes, dislikes, preferences, customs, practices, community linkage, what they will choose to do and what they will not choose to do. So this complexity, how they can grasp over the period of time. Not maybe they will not be able to do when they are young professionals and all that. But does the course like MA in livelihoods equip them to progressively learn these things and learn by doing? So that is what I find is something we have to work on. And also, this thing like, it is not there in any of our education system. It's a very idealistic thing like Nayi Talim, that there is no performativity, the postmodern term of, there is nothing by doing with the body. So when I went to the field, in the initial years I did farming. Like one example I'll give, I work with this trade union now, sugarcane harvesters in Beed district of Maharashtra. So they were loading the sugarcane into the truck. So my curiosity was telling me, I want to know how heavy is this bundle of sugarcane. So I loaded one bundle of sugarcane in the truck to get that experience. So this disconnect between bodily performance, what the livelihood people do, and children coming from like me, from middle class, who have not done any physical activity. We don't know what it is like to work a whole day in Narega. We can talk a lot about Narega and all. So that somewhere should be, I'm not so much bothered if it is not there in other education thing, there's a value. But here as a skill, at least they should know that, when you say that इतने मीटर का गड्ढा बनाना है, तो कितना मेहनत लगता है, वो मेहनत को एक्सपीरियंस करना चाहिए. That experiential learning concept somewhere. So in this they have tried to do that, like going for the rural campus, staying in the villages. Like one student who is working with us as a YP, she was telling me one of their labs was to go in the village and do the work what the villagers do the whole day. So in PRA we do only the mapping, we do the work mapping of women, but the girls or boys should do the work actually. Pani fetch karna, firewood lana. So I asked her, what work did you do? So she told, I cut rice, harvested rice, somebody fetched water, somebody fetched firewood. So that, they may not do it all their life, but just to give a feel of how it is to engage in a livelihood activity. So that experiential learning part is something lacking. And of course theirs is a practice oriented thing, so they'll spend a lot of time in the field. But for these professionals, I'm not talking about para-professionals, I'm talking about proper, those who are doing the postgraduate kind of course. How do we build these elements, make it more multidisciplinary, more appreciative, more experiential learning based? And yesterday somewhere on the dinner table we were talking that, nowadays the youth, like in the software, if they stay for 4 years in one company, they get a long service award. So I was about to share that somewhere this has percolated to this sector also. 1-2 साल में they keep changing the organization because they keep moving up or they get better salaries or something happens. So to build them in that patience also, because this generation is also little, so like we have an incubation center. So one of the 2 days back I saw a flyer, flex banner, and pass outs have promoted a social consulting venture. So I thought, अरे बाप रे, अभी भी मतलब अभी पैदा नहीं हुए और consultancy में घुस गए. So so there are a lot of, they do apps and all, like mobile apps and all. But the brick and mortar work is somewhere going as low value. So that is my concern, because that reality has not changed. Okay, people have mobile and you can use ICT and all this thing. But still, खेती होता है, गाय पाला जाता है, मतलब all those things happen. And there should be engagement at that level. Like if you do a small dairy business, how do you write a small proposal to a bank for a dairy business? So then they, do net and copy paste and all. But उनको ये समझ नहीं है कि गाय में कितनी varieties होती है, उसका क्या चारा देना पड़ता है, कितना fodder खिलाना पड़ता है उसको एक दिन का, how that fodder is collected, what happens when there is shortage of fodder. That going into that depth, engaging in this thing, that somewhere is, I think we should, as educators, we should drive that more, this thing, so that we have better people at the field who are more engaged. This is my submission. And coming to this Livelihood Innovation Forum, we did this was the technical partner to MSRN, just 2 minutes. So I will not share what we did. We just called for applications. We did a technical appraisal, desk appraisal, field appraisal, and jury round and shortlisted 38 organizations. I will tell you what we could not do. See, one of the caps that they had put was the organization should be above, turnover should be about 50 lakhs. So we eliminated a lot of organizations because their another intention was also to have some kind of partnership with the innovators. But what we could not do, and what I think SRLN should do, is look at grassroots innovators. And there are a lot of stuff on the NIF website and like that, lot of things. But can our young professionals go there, talk to those people, find out ways of scaling up, integrate that with SRLM. Now there is the startup village entrepreneurship, so we don't have to scout for new things. If a 7th standard pass person in Rajasthan, he has made a movable biogasifier and he makes it and sells it. Now, how to make an enterprise out of this for different communities? So it can be even for nomadic communities, it can be a energy supplier. So, things like this, innovative ideas, we have to work on. And also another thing that is coming now is, since most of the rural youth want to get out of farming, so skill is coming as a big thing and everybody wants a job. And naturally we are pushing them in the informal sector. Migration is another thing. So in our skills program we have a migration support center concept. So rural ministry is asking people to go to urban areas. So that is also one challenge. It is a demand of the people, we cannot say no also. I have also tried to develop models of non-migration based skill jobs. So looking at skills jobbed in the taluka or district towns and how we can link the peripheral villages to those kinds of jobs, and that was very good experience. The youth were very happy, they were getting a decent salary and things like that. So somewhere we have to look at this changing context and incorporate all this in our livelihood education. Thank you.
Thank you.